Hey, Warriors fans, welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got a lot to unpack, and I've been digging into some of the trade rumors floating around lately, and one that really caught my eye involves Walker Kessler and the Golden State Warriors. Now, if you remember, we talked about Kessler a while back over the summer as a potential piece in a trade for Jonathan Kuminga, but nothing really came together at that time. There was talk about packaging him in a bigger deal with players like Lauri Markkanen and adding picks, but it just never materialized, mainly because it seems like the Jazz are committed to keeping Markkanen for now. But recently, after the Jazz publicly said they weren't planning to sign Kessler to a rookie-scale extension, I started wondering if he might be available on the trade block, and today's rumors seem to point in that direction. The talk is more about Kessler coming to Golden State in exchange for Quinn Post, and maybe a smaller contract like Moses Moody or Jackson Davis. Honestly, I think this is the kind of move that could make a lot of sense for the Warriors, even if it's a deal that happens early in the season. It reminds me of those headline trades like Allen Iverson going to Detroit and Chauncey Billups ending up in Denver, big moves that reshape teams. For the Warriors, Post has shown flashes and has been solid, but their backcourt is extremely crowded right now. You've got players like Gary Payton, Seth Curry, Moses Moody, Will Richardson, Buddy Hield, and Pat Spencer all competing for minutes, and adding Kessler could help address size and defensive presence without sacrificing too much in the process. Moving Post could make sense for both sides. The Jazz get another year of control over a player, while the Warriors gain someone who can bring that Andrew Bogut-type defensive presence they've been missing, someone who can match up physically with the Jokic's, Anthony Davis's, Rudy Gobert's, or even Joel Embiid's of the league. Size matters so much in matchups like this, especially in the playoffs, and Kessler gives you length and toughness on the boards that complements Draymond Green perfectly. Draymond still has that energy and can still dominate smaller lineups, but when you move him to power forward with someone like Kessler in the front court, it takes a lot of pressure off him and allows Golden State to compete against bigger, more physical teams without sacrificing their offensive rhythm. Kessler's contributions might average 8 points and 8 rebounds, but those rebounds come against players his own size, which matters a lot more than just the raw numbers when you consider matchups against top-tier opponents. Looking at the Warriors' upcoming games, particularly against teams like the Nuggets, the lack of size could be a real problem. Draymond can only carry the team so far against bigger lineups. In the past, we've seen how teams with elite forwards and centers can dominate when Golden State doesn't have someone who can match up physically. DeAndre Ayton, for instance, was relatively contained last season, but when you have someone like Jokic or Anthony Davis, that's a completely different challenge. If Kessler comes in, it gives Golden State flexibility in rotations and allows Draymond to slide to power forward without compromising defensive effectiveness. The Jazz, on their end, appear more focused on Kyle Filipowski, who has a better contract and longer-term control, which further opens the possibility of Kessler being available in a trade. It's the kind of move that solves multiple problems at once, opens up roster flexibility for Golden State, helps with size issues immediately, and potentially addresses the Jazz's needs for young talent and draft assets. Now, aside from potential trades, Jonathan Kuminga has been a bright spot for the Warriors recently. Against the Lakers, he exploded for 17 points on 4 for 6 shooting from 3, added 9 rebounds and 6 assists, and showed the kind of versatility and aggression the team has been hoping for. This is the Kuminga that makes you excited about the future, someone who could be a starter alongside Steph, Draymond, and Klay when the time comes. His ability to stretch the floor, attack the basket, and contribute defensively makes him a vital part of this core's evolution. Right now, the lineup looks like Steph Curry, Quinn Post, Jimmy Butler, Kuminga, and Draymond Green, with Al Horford coming off the bench, but I could see that evolving into Steph, Jimmy, Kuminga, Draymond, and Horford, especially if they add someone like Kessler. The rotation would allow Golden State to match up better with bigger teams, especially considering what we saw from the Rockets in the opening night doubleheader. Amen Thompson at point, Kevin Durant at 2, Jabari Smith Jr. at 3, Alperen Sengun at 4, and Steven Adams at 5. Their size, length, and athleticism on every position, and Golden State needs to account for that in their lineup construction. You can't rely solely on perimeter shooting when facing that kind of lineup because their size allows them to trap, switch, and dominate the boards. Having Kessler in the front court helps mitigate that threat while still maintaining offensive spacing and pace. Beyond trade talk and rotations, one of the most intriguing things I noticed during the doubleheader was the halftime segment featuring Michael Jordan. Unlike Kobe's segments, which were heavy on X's and O's, this was more of a pre-recorded, interview-style insight into Jordan's perspective, and what struck me most was his evident itch to play. Even at 62, you can see the competitive fire and desire to engage with the game, and it's fascinating to watch him break down moments, share stories, and reflect on his past experiences. There's a sense that he's still itching to get out on the court in some capacity, and while it might not be in the NBA, seeing him in summer games or exhibitions could be closer than we think. The segment really emphasized his charisma and presence, and even the small anecdotes, like being nervous shooting for kids at a Ryder Cup event, remind you how legendary players maintain that competitive edge decades after retiring. Watching these segments adds another layer of excitement to nationally televised Warriors games, giving fans something extra during halftime and connecting past legends to current stars in real time. Ultimately, the Warriors' small ball lineup is about to face its first serious test against the Nuggets. Nuggets have size, speed, and length across all positions. Aaron Gordon versus Kuminga will be a fascinating matchup, and while Steph can handle the guards, the bigger players like Jokic can give Draymond trouble early in the game. The key will be whether Golden State can maintain their tempo, execute their spacing, and play punch for punch while still leveraging their strengths. Against the Lakers, the game felt close in score at times, but in reality, the Warriors controlled it by 5 or 6 points throughout. If they can replicate that against the Nuggets, there's a real chance they start 2-0 and potentially string together a 7 to 10 game winning streak. The size issue will always be a concern, but with strategic trades like Kessler, smart rotations, and players like Kuminga emerging into star-level contributors, the Warriors have the tools to adapt, stay competitive, and remain a top contender in the Western Conference. Continuing from where we left off, the Warriors' situation against teams with size like the Nuggets is going to reveal a lot about how this team will shape up over the season. The small ball lineup has worked at times, but it always comes down to matchups and the ability to adapt in real time. Draymond Green is still the heartbeat of the team, and his energy on both ends allows Golden State to compete with bigger opponents. But relying on him to constantly carry that load is risky. Bringing in a player like Walker Kessler could be transformative because it immediately addresses one of the most glaring weaknesses: interior defense and rebounding against top-tier big men. Right now, the Warriors can run and shoot and still be effective, but when the competition gets physical, fast, and tall, those advantages shrink quickly. That's where Kessler's length, defensive instincts, and ability to guard multiple positions come into play. He can alter shots, box out effectively, and even switch on smaller players without creating mismatches, which gives Golden State a more versatile defensive scheme. It's not just about points and rebounds, though he'll contribute there too, but it's about creating balance, giving the team more options, and protecting Draymond from getting worn down too early in games. The timing of any potential trade is critical. If Golden State waits too long, they risk missing the chance to get Kessler before other teams show interest or before he hits free agency and the Jazz lose leverage. This is exactly the kind of proactive move that separates playoff contenders from mid-tier teams. By acting early, they address the problem before it becomes urgent, allow younger players like Kuminga to grow in the rotation, and keep veterans like Draymond and Steph focused on what they do best without worrying about matchup liabilities. And speaking of Kuminga, his development cannot be overstated. His recent performances have been electric, and it's clear that the Warriors are leaning on him as part of the next-generation core. Scoring 17 points against the Lakers with efficiency from 3, adding 9 rebounds and 6 assists, shows that he's not just a role player anymore. He's becoming a multi-dimensional force capable of impacting the game in multiple ways. If he continues at this pace, Kuminga is going to be central to the Warriors' strategy not only this season, but for years to come. He brings energy, creativity, and athleticism that complements the established stars, and having him thrive in the starting lineup keeps defenses guessing while spreading the floor for Steph and the others. The potential for a lineup with Steph, Jimmy, Kuminga, Draymond, and Kessler, or even Horford sliding in, could be exactly what Golden State needs to remain competitive against the elite teams in the West. Now, looking beyond the court, one of the most fascinating developments is the Jordan halftime segments during nationally televised Warriors games. Unlike the classic X's and O's breakdowns we saw from Kobe, these segments are more storytelling, more insight into Michael Jordan's perspective, his mindset, and even his ongoing competitive drive. Watching someone of his stature reflect on moments from his career and interact with the current game provides a lens into greatness that fans rarely get. What struck me most is the obvious itch he still has to play. Even at 62, you can see the competitive fire, the energy, and the desire to remain connected to basketball. It's the kind of thing that makes these segments must-watch. You get to see anecdotes like how nervous he was shooting for kids at a Ryder Cup event, or his reflections on games from decades ago. And it's not just nostalgia, it's a reminder that elite athletes never truly stop thinking about their craft. Whether he steps back on the court in a summer exhibition or just continues to provide insight, it adds a layer of excitement to Warriors games that you wouldn't expect. Fans get not just a top-tier basketball game, but also access to one of the greatest minds in sports analyzing, commenting, and inspiring in real time. It's a subtle but powerful way to connect past and present, and it builds a narrative that complements the on-court story of Golden State evolving their roster. When we come back to the immediate challenge, the Nuggets game is crucial. With Jokic controlling the paint, Aaron Gordon bringing physicality, and shooters like Cam Johnson spacing the floor, Golden State has to play smart, fast, and efficient. The first few minutes will be critical. If the Warriors can survive the initial size mismatch and establish tempo, they can leverage their speed, shooting, and chemistry to stay competitive. Steph is going to handle the guard matchups, but Draymond will need help inside, and that's where Kessler or strategic rotation becomes essential. Even if Golden State falls behind early, the ability to maintain momentum through quick scoring, solid rotations, and defensive adjustments can prevent the game from ever feeling truly close for the opponent. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers are starting to echo through the Golden State Warriors locker room and beyond, as a startling comment from head coach Steve Kerr has set social media ablaze. In a candid moment that seems to have been caught off guard by reporters, Kerr reportedly stated, "If the pressure continues, I'm going to ask to leave the Warriors." The remark has immediately sparked a frenzy of speculation among fans, analysts, and rival teams alike. Kerr, who has led the Warriors to multiple championships and built a reputation as one of the game's sharpest minds, rarely speaks so openly about internal pressures. Yet, the remark hints at a simmering tension behind the scenes. Is the coach frustrated with management, the roster, or the relentless expectations that come with leading a superstar-studded team? Sources close to the organization suggest that the locker room has been under extraordinary scrutiny this season, with critics questioning every strategic decision and lineup adjustment. While the Warriors' front office has remained tight-lipped, insiders say Kerr's statement could be more than a passing frustration. He's deeply invested in this team. One source commented under the condition of anonymity, but everyone has a breaking point, and Steve isn't immune to pressure. The idea of Kerr stepping away sends shockwaves through the league, considering his pivotal role in orchestrating Golden State's fast-paced offense and maintaining harmony among star players. The timing is particularly intriguing, with the playoffs approaching and the Warriors facing key matchups that could define their season. The murmurs of a potential coaching exit add another layer of intrigue. Competitors are already rumored to be monitoring the situation closely, while fans are left debating whether this is a genuine expression of discontent or a tactical move to relieve pressure on the team. Whatever the truth may be, Kerr's words have ignited a conversation that goes far beyond wins and losses. The pressure of leading a championship contender, balancing egos, and navigating the high-stakes world of the NBA seems to be boiling over. As the Warriors gear up for the next crucial stretch of the season, all eyes will be on Kerr, not just for his X's and O's, but for his next move in what has suddenly become one of the league's most captivating storylines. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.